Happy first week of summer session and welcome to week 1 of human development. My name is Melinda Westland and I'm your instructor for this course. There was no good light inside my house, so I stepped outside to make this video for you. Every week I'll try to do a few videos to talk about our case study or to provide some direction with our papers or to just really talk about the content. We are going to be learning so much information from conception all the way through death and dying that I want to try to give you some examples to put into perspective what you're looking at on the PowerPoint slides, what you're reading in the textbook, but then give you some content for that. So a couple of things I want to go over with you first. Number one is next week we'll start talking about our papers. So we do have several papers due in this course, and so I'll start to give you some specifics on ideas on what to write and how to write it and how to make sure that you get full points for that. Remember, you should have read your syllabus by now to understand that this is a points-based class. That means that you don't want to get thrown off if you don't do well on one of your exams. So if you were to score a 60 on one of your exams and get discouraged because it's like, oh my gosh, I'm failing, I got a D, whatever it be, think of it as I earned 60 points. My goal in this class is to earn as many points as possible to receive the grade that I want. Again, you are welcome to do extra credit. You don't have to miss an exam to complete extra credit. Everyone is free to do 1 or 2 extra credit assignments. But doing that extra credit puts points into your bank. And that's the goal of what you want to do. Again, particularly for those students here who are interested in the nursing program or any of those competitive programs, you're going to want to have an A in this class. Very doable. However, you have to put the work in. So I really suggest that if you do all of your assignments, keep connected with me with any questions. I think that you'll do great in this class. This is a really fun class because, again, we're talking about ourselves. We're not talking about history. We're not talking about biology. In a sense, we will, but it's really related to how you and I grow and develop throughout time. So we'll cover many topics in this class. And again, I'll try to touch base with you to give you some practical examples. One of the things so far that I've noticed is that in looking at how you are responding in your introductions to each other, in your group work, and also in case study number 1, I want to point out a few things. In your introduction, some of you, I'm going to let you slide this week because they're very brief. Understand that it's a real privilege to be able to have class at home in your pajamas or wherever it be. For those of you, especially who are working adults, working 40 hours a week, being able to have class in off hours is wonderful. However, I still need you to learn the same amount of material that you would if you were in my face-to-face class. And so therefore, you need to engage. We need to have some good discussion. And we're going to do that through our group work, right? I'm not going to make you post something to 85 other students in the class with us. I put you into small groups so that that small group can work with each other and get to know a little bit more about each other and the perspectives of your fellow classmates. So when we talk about case study number 1, and we're talking about the Shannon family, what I'm reading is I'm reading a lot of students who are saying, yes, I think we should help the Shannon family. And I'm hearing a lot of your fellow classmates agree. Yes, I think it's the right thing to do. Poor Sally, they want to have another child. Yes, let's all do that. I'm going to challenge you to use your critical thinking skills because that's what education is all about. It's about pushing the boundaries and it's about exploring new perspectives. So yes, I feel for Sally. Yes, I feel for the Shannon family. However, I have some real questions. So for instance, let's say that Sally gets a baby sister who is developed for the purpose of harvesting her cord blood cells so that she can help Sally. Hopefully she will prevent Sally from getting leukemia, which was the fear at this point in time. However, she's not curing the disease. Sally has Fanconi anemia, which cannot be cured. She has no thumbs. She has some real health issues that are not going to go away. So I would question what happens 3 years down the road and new baby sister has to do another bone marrow transplant because, again, Sally is facing some type of health crisis. What happens when new baby is 6 years old and this situation arises that she needs to help her sister again? What happens when new baby is 10 years old? At what point does the new child have a voice to say, no, thank you, enough is enough. I don't think I want to keep being the guinea pig. Does she have a voice in this, right? Do any of you feel some ethical or moral issues with discarding embryos? In our slides and in your textbook, you'll see what a 4-week-old embryo looks like. You see what a 7-week-old embryo looks like. Do we have any issues with that? What do we think about the precedent that genetic selection sets for the future? At what point do we say no? Do parents start saying, I don't want a child who's born with Down syndrome. I don't want a child who's born with this condition. Let's do some genetic selection and let's prevent that from happening. Right? So I really want you to explore these issues. I want you to go ahead and disagree with each other. Disagreement is great. Disagreement leads to good conversation and good discussion. We do it in a respectful manner. All of us in this course have a voice and we should all feel safe. And so we can disagree with the classmate without actually doing it in a negative way. So I want to see a little bit more pushback on your case studies. I want to see you not just agreeing with classmates, because that's the easiest thing to do, is to say, yes, I agree with you. But rather, I want you to critically think and put yourself in the position. The reason I do these case studies is because we are learning the material in our PowerPoint and in our textbook. Now let's really see what it might look like, even though this is a fictitious story. Next week's case study will not be fictitious. So I want you to challenge you a little bit more, again, in having some good discussion and in posting some, however you feel about the situation and the circumstance. Okay, so receive that and we'll, I think, have some much further enlightening and differing perspectives as we go along in this coursework. And I think that's very exciting. So again, I would suggest that each week when the module opens up, I would suggest, first of all, you take a look at what we have going on. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you have your study guide with you as you go through the PowerPoint slides and as you read your text. I always recommend going through the PowerPoint slides first and reading the chapter after, because I think what I've tried to do with the study guide is I've tried to direct you. Because if you look at the textbook, it's overwhelming. There's a tremendous amount of information, and we're, again, condensing 16 weeks of a semester into 8 weeks of a summer session. So I've guided you and I've directed you with your study guide. Your study guide is really the key to our exams. So go through the PowerPoint and then read the chapter afterwards. So start the week by, again, reading your information. And then you'll probably want to go ahead and either jump into an activity that I've posted or the case study that I've posted. And so you're going to engage in that case study. And the way that those typically work is you typically can't see your classmates' postings until you've at least posted something, right? So again, because I want you to start to be thinking for yourself and not basing your responses on what fellow classmates say, but rather basing your responses on what you think, right? And then you'll want to respond to at least one or more of your group mates in your group. And then the final thing that you'll want to do each week is your reflection. It should be done at the end of the week because, again, that's what reflection is. We're looking back and we're saying, how did I process the information? What did I learn? What was really interesting to me? What do I have some further questions about that I want to learn more about? Again, the reflection is your safe space. You can write whatever you'd like. For this course, I do not have a reader, which means that I am the only person who grades all of your papers, all of your reflections, any assignments that you submit. So there's not a concern with another person looking at that information. That's the only way I can get to know you also. Again, next week we'll talk a little bit more about paper number 1 and what to look forward in that situation. We also have exam number 1 coming up. So try to keep up, again, with the amount of work that goes into this online class. I understand all of us are learning to navigate Canvas as a platform, so there's a learning curve here. So I understand that. Please access the Canvas hotline as much as possible to help you be a little more comfortable. And of course, posting on our pinned student lounge discussion for any questions will help your classmates or myself to respond to any issues that you might have. I think it's been a really good, exciting first week of our summer session. And again, next week you can look forward to me starting off the week with an announcement, a video announcement, I should say, to help guide you in the work that we'll be doing next week. Have a great weekend. Okay.